those lost to severe weather conditions and human activity. Poaching used to be a major threat to Bengal tigers, but thankfully, the number of big cats killed by poachers has plummeted due to measures implemented by law enforcement agencies, resulting in less demand for tiger products. Especially the introduction of camera traps and digital apps, which automatically take photos of moving tigers and suspicious persons moving around in the forest.
Every time I hear something like that, I feel so good, in some ways, some things are working, and so this is what drives me to come and do this. In my lifetime, if the tigers are extinct, I don't know how I'll handle that.
This report was produced by Mary Ferreira for the United Nations.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Corporation of the Bahamas.
It's informative, thought-provoking, and entertaining. Immediate response on the ZNS Network, examining the issues you care about. So pull up a chair, call your neighbors, loved ones, family, and friends. Set your dials. Immediate response starts now with your host, Spence Finlayson.
Good morning, Bahamas. Good morning, world. Welcome to Immediate Response. This is Diana's last child all the way from the Valley with you this morning. To get us started on this program today, we go to Pastor Jacqueline Lewis, who's going to do the prayer for the nation for us. Good morning, Pastor Lewis.
Good morning, Mr. Finlayson.
How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Bahamas.
Yes, thank you for agreeing to say the prayer for the nation, my dear.
Thank you, too. Thank you for the invite.
Yes, ma'am. You may begin.
Psalm 33, verse 12 says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people whom he hath chosen for his own inheritance." Father, in the name of your Son Jesus today, I come as a watchman whom you have ordained to watch over the gates of the city. I decree today that this nation is divinely blessed. I decree today that the people whom you have chosen to occupy until you come in this Bahama land, we are divinely blessed. I pray today that the power of God will be made manifested in this day, and that all that you have provided today will come down like an abundance of rain upon your people as we continue, dear God, to serve you in spirit and in truth and in the beauty of your holiness. We pray for a perpetual blessing upon this Bahama land. We pray for a perpetual blessing upon the leaders of this Bahama land. We pray for the government today, Jesus, that they will look unto the hills today from whence their help comes. We pray for religious leaders today, that they whom you have called and you have ordained and anointed in this hour, that they will walk according to your knowledge, according to the wisdom of God. We pray, dear God, that you, Jesus, will take care of the civic groups, Lord, and everyone that have a part to play in this day, wherever they are today, that they will rise to the occasion, and they will know that they are divinely blessed, hallelujah, that they have been divinely positioned at the gates, Lord, in the mighty name of Jesus, God, and even the host of the show today, God, that he will walk according to the knowledge, according to wisdom. You have ordained this time and season for them, God. I pray strength now, God, in the mighty name of Jesus, for the glory of God. We restore declare peace in the Bahamas today. We declare the joy of the Lord to be your strength. In the mighty and precious name of Jesus, to whom all glory belongs to. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Jacqueline Lewis. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
Thank you. Make today your best day now, Pastor.
Thank you so very much. Walk in purpose, walk in destiny. God bless you, sir.
Amen. Thank you very kindly. Yes, that was Pastor Jacqueline Lewis doing the prayer for the nation. Good morning, Bahamas. My guest is already here, Mr. Vincent Thompson, all the way from the Central Bank of the Bahamas. But we get started now on my Energizer. And this morning I want to talk about the essence of leadership, seeing triumph from tragedy. And I'm going to share a short story that illustrates the essence of leadership. And in the Growing the Distance, Timeless Principles for Personal Career and Family Success, Jim Clemmer tells a story about Thomas Edison. Renowned as one of the America's most famous inventors, Edison also demonstrated the powers of leadership, which will rival any general. This story illustrates that even in the face of the most cruel adversity, Edison not only looked for the positives, but attempted to instill this attitude in his followers. This truly was the essence of leadership. In 1914, Thomas Edison's factory in West Orange, New Jersey, was virtually destroyed by fire. Although the damage exceeded $2 million, the buildings were insured only for $238,000 because they were made of concrete and were thought to be fireproof. Much of Edison's life work went up in smoke and flames on that December night. At the height of the fire, Edison's 24-year-old son, Charles, searched frantically for his father. He finally found him, calmly watching the fire, his face glowing in the reflection, his white hair blowing in the wind. "My heart ached for him," said Charles. "He was 67, no longer a young man, and everything was going up in flames. When he saw me, he shouted, 'Charles, where's your mother?' When I told him I didn't know, he said, 'Find her, bring her here. She will never see anything like this as long as she lives.' The next morning, Edison looked at the ruins and said, 'There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew.'" Wow. 3 weeks later, after the fire, Edison managed to deliver the first phonograph. Edison saw beyond the immediate disaster a positive. He saw things differently. Saying things differently is demonstrated in two other stories about Tom Watson of IBM and, of course, Henry Ford. Watson's interpretation of a serious situation particularly echoed the Edison story, reframing apparent loss and cause into positive learning potential. Seeing things differently to others appears to be a characteristic of leadership. And I leave you with a few quotes on overcoming tragedy. "In the middle of every difficulty lies an opportunity." And she had the choice to sulk in the disaster or find the beauty even in the ashes. S.S. Jubilee. And finally, the most successful people see adversity not as a stumbling block, but as a stepping stone to greatness. Sean Anker. And my finally is that adversity is that particular something that introduces a man to himself. Welcome back, my brother Thompson. Good to see you, sir.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. You're sharp as ever. Look like you work for Gillette.
Trying to match.
The Razor Blade Company.
Just trying to match you.
Good to see you. Tell the nation who you are briefly for us, please.
Good morning. My name is Vincent Thompson. I'm the Assistant Manager of Markets at the Central Bank of the Bahamas, where I primarily deal with the oversight of domestic debt and the foreign reserve management.
Awesome stuff. Awesome. And I wouldn't mention that you went to the big school in Fox Hill.
Only one school.
Oh, you're going to cause me to get into trouble here today. But I'm glad that you're here. I want to open up with a text that I got from someone, a viewer, an avid viewer of this program, that led me to create this, to have you here today. You know, the show is called Immediate Response, so we have to respond immediately.
Okay.
And Paula McGregor sent this note to me. And she says that the Central Bank of the Bahamas is making some changes with reference to purchasing and redeeming of the Treasury stocks. In the past, the ordinary citizen was able to go into the central bank and purchase. But as of March 1st, changes are taking place, and persons would have to go through a broker, which of course would be a cost to the ordinary citizen. And she said, this is something you may wish to have the central bank discuss on your show for the information of persons affected and those wishing to invest in the future. Thanks in advance. And thank you, Paula McGregor, for this. Mr. Thompson, you may begin with that, please, on that premise. Help us understand.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. And that's actually a great question, because that is one of the primary changes that we are actually instilling right now. So it started on March 1st, where we discontinued the onboarding of new clients for government securities.
Okay.
Now, the reasoning behind this is twofold. One, it is to instill and encourage the proper development of the financial security market, whereas we are encouraging customers to go through the broker dealers where they can value securities and we can have the correct price discovery. By price discovery, what I mean is right now, government securities are traded over the Bahamas International Securities Exchange, BIZX. However, the pricing that is currently being used, a lot of the customers are using the central bank's prices. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not saying that is wrong or that's incorrect. It's just a matter of a independent individual, an independent investor, they may value a security differently from what the central bank values it at. And this is what we are encouraging.
Yes, sir.
Every month, the central bank publishes prices at which we value these securities. And for example, you might value a security at a price of $102, whereas the central bank values it at $98.
Okay.
And by going through the broker dealers, going through the exchange, we are allowing the customers to interact together, allow them to have their own valuation of these securities, and we could generate an organic development and market and price discovery, which it should occur.
Yes.
Also, secondly, for a number of years, the central bank has afforded these customers this brokerage services. They've allowed them to come in over the counter to walk in and buy securities and transfer securities and perform any transactions with the securities. Now, mind you, this has been very beneficial and accommodating to the customers.
Yes.
However, that is not aligned with best practices.
Okay.
As an individual investor, if you were in for example, let's say you were in the United States, you would not be able to independently walk into the Fed, buy securities. You would need to go through a broker dealer.
Yes, definitely.
And this is what we are trying to encourage. We are trying to encourage the development of the security market to get it aligned with where it needs to be with international best practices.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about the Treasury bonds and so forth, sir.
Okay, so
let's educate our public today.
Lovely. So let's start. There are two main securities which are issued by the government through the central bank.
Yes.
There are the short-term securities. These are the Treasury bills. They are offered. They are maturities of 3 months to 6 months, 91 days and 182 days.
And anyone can purchase these.
Anyone can purchase these.
Okay.
Now, because these are so short-term, mostly only institutions come for those.
Okay.
They 3 to 6 month maturity. You don't really get much of a return back in it. So from an individual standpoint, like you and I, there won't be much benefit to us.
So the individual investor then would do a longer period.
They come in for the government bonds.
The government bonds.
Yes,
Explain that to us, please.
These are the government bonds. They have maturities of a longer range, 1, 3, 5, 7, 10, 20, and 30 years.
Okay.
So they pay interest on every 6 months.
Yes.
And just the basics of it is, I'll start with the definition of a bond.
Yes, please, do that.
A bond is essentially a contract between an investor and an institution. In this instance, the government bonds is a agreement between an individual investor and the Bahamian government, where the agreement is the government borrows a fixed amount of money from this investor and agrees to pay fixed interest to this investor for the life
period of time, for the life of
maturity.
Yes.
So, for example, let's say I bought $1,000 of a 10-year bond. I invest my $1,000.
Yes.
Every 6 months, I will receive interest on that $1,000.
Every 6 months.
Every 6 months. And at the end of that 10 years, I get my original investment of $1,000 back.
Okay.
So that is essentially what a government bond is.
Okay. Yeah. So the new thing now then is you're encouraging persons to deal with brokers.
So to expand on that. March 1st, 2022, we discontinued the onboarding of new clients. What that means is if you were not a existing holder of government securities, if you are not an existing holder, you cannot come and purchase through the central bank. starting March 1st.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
if you were existing already,
You could still do it.
you can still do it up until the end of this year, up until December 31st, 2022.
Okay, so those new persons who want to take part in the treasury bonds and stocks and so forth, they have to get a broker.
They have to get a broker.
You have
deal,
brokers that are recommended, a recommended list of brokers?
So this is, let me make this clear. As the central bank, we cannot recommend, we cannot give our preference, we cannot give any financial advice.
You have to remain neutral.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, I can say there are a list of licensed broker dealers.
Yes.
They are all available on BizX's website where they're all listed there.
Right.
And all of those are licensed and they are all participate in our offerings that we have for the government securities.
Okay.
So any customer, any new customer who's interested, the full listing is on BizX's website where they list all the broker dealers who are available and who are licensed to participate in these offerings.
Okay, that's good. Let me throw the phone numbers out quickly. The numbers to call today, 325-5404, 325-5405. I have Mr. Vincent Thompson here from the Central Bank. We're talking about stocks and bonds and all those good things, and he is the expert in that area. What traditionally have Bahamians been investing in, Mr. Thompson?
I'll say this. Over the past few years, there has been an increase in the number of investors who are participating in these government securities.
Okay.
And it's a good thing because from an investment standpoint, there is no such thing as a risk-free investment. There's no such thing as a risk-free investment.
But this comes as closest to it.
This is as least risky as you could get.
Right.
It's a government-guaranteed investment where it's guaranteed that you will receive your payment every 6 months and you will receive your maturity at the end of the life of it.
Yes.
So when it comes to quote-unquote safe investments,
this is
as closest to the line as you can get.
Okay, all right. In the age of cryptocurrency and blockchain and all these other things coming up now,
it's always good to have something safe in the back pocket.
Okay. The central bank also speak about the sand dollar for a minute. Can you just speak about that for a minute for us?
Okay, I'll touch on it. I'll touch on it for a little bit.
I had some people inquiring about that.
No problem. So what the sand dollar is? The sand dollar is not a cryptocurrency. It's a digital currency.
Yes.
For example, the same way how, let's say I have $10 physical money in my wallet right now.
Yes.
The sand dollar would essentially be having $10 of the same fiat money digitally on my phone.
Okay.
Where if you are at a vendor who accepts the sand dollars and accepts the digital currency, you can go there and use it. We use it around the bank on a daily basis to process any payments we need, and it's real time.
Yes.
I can scan it right now, and the money is transferred right now. It's very quick and simple. It's safe as well. Mm-hmm. So it's just it's a variation to fiat physical money.
Okay, makes sense. What's the difference between a stock and a bond?
Okay, so a stock is essentially you're owning a percentage of this company. You're owning a percentage of the entity, while the bond is a contract, an agreement between you and the entity. So whereas if you are an individual who owns a stock of a company, you might own some percentage, you might have voting rights that comes along with it. Exactly. You might have some equity in that company. Whereas a bond is just simply an agreement between the investor and the company, and the arrangement is the company pays the investor this coupon, this interest rate at whatever fixed period of time is. At the end life of that bond, the maturity value comes back.
Okay.
Stocks don't have a maturity value. They might have a clause in it where, this stock is good for XYZ at this time. We buy back a year percentage, but the bond has a fixed maturity. For our bonds, 1, 3, 5, 7, 10, 20, and 30 years.
Yes.
Those are fixed maturity timelines.
Okay. What are some of the other negotiable instruments that you have that people can invest in?
Via the central bank, it's really only the short term, the treasury bills, and the government bonds. The short term and the long term. All of these are open to the public to purchase. The public are open to come in anytime they want to purchase it, and there are offerings for these basically every month. The treasury bills are offered every month, and the government bonds are offered essentially every month.
Yes. So explain the treasury bills, please.
Okay, so.
Yeah, explain that.
The treasury bills, as you mentioned, they are short term.
Yes.
Now, whereas the difference between the treasury bills and the government bonds are, one, the government bonds which are sold or purchased at par value, $100.
Yes.
For example, you buy $1,000. It costs $1,000. You get your interest on that $1,000. You get your money back.
Right.
Conversely, the treasury bills, those are bought at a discount. What that means is, let's say you want to buy 100,000 of treasury bills. You would communicate, okay, I want to buy $100,000 worth of Treasury bills, but I want to pay this discount rate. So
yes.
instead of paying the par value of $100,
Right,
you're
you
paying
pay-
something along 98, 98.5, 99, however you bid for it.
Yes.
So that's what you're going to pay. And at the time of the maturity, albeit 3 months, 6 months down the line, you get that $100,000 back. So from the conventional definition of quote-unquote interest, it's
Yes.
not the same, but what you do earn is that discount value, that in
Okay,
between.
yes.
The difference between what you paid and what you're getting back, that is the money that you earn. So
Right.
that is essentially how the Treasury bills work.
Okay.
And that's why most times the investors for Treasury bills are institutions, companies. Those who have that short investment horizon, who just want that quick return to prioritize their liquidity and having the funds on hand.
Yes.
They come in for those more so than the actual individuals who would go for the longer bonds, the ones with the higher coupon, the discount coupon, and the interest payments. So individuals most likely coming for the government bonds, institutions coming for the Treasury bills.
Yes. So what would you encourage, if you can, Bahamians to invest in at the central bank, if you can do that?
Okay, I'm gonna try skirt this as clean as possible.
Yes.
Naturally, we do encourage individuals to invest in the securities, primarily the government bonds,
Yes.
because that's more aligned with most individuals' investment horizons.
Okay.
Now, I won't sit here and say, okay, all individuals coming for the 20 or the 30 year. I won't say that.
No,
However, I will be clear with the information, whereas in the longer the maturity horizon, the 10, 20, 30 years, they do pay the higher coupon. They do pay the higher interest. So as an individual, look at your financial situation. Are you able to invest money and you don't need to touch it for 10, 20 years? If that's the case, invest for the 10, 20-year bond.
Okay.
But if you need it for in the next 3-5 years, we have securities within those maturity timelines which you can invest in.
We have a call on the line, Mr. Thompson.
problem.
Welcome, Dr. McPhee, Pumpkin. Good morning. Welcome.
Brother Spence, good morning to you. Good morning to your guests. You have a good show today.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
And good morning to your wonderful producer who did a good job waking me up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a question, or maybe one or two questions for the gentleman.
Please go right ahead.
What is his name again, Spence?
His name is Vincent Thompson from the Central Bank.
Oh, Mr. Thompson, how are you?
Good morning. I'm well.
Yeah, come near close to that mic, and you're good. Can I do my buy bonds and things directly online with my credit card?
No, you cannot do it with your credit card. The payment for the bonds would have to be transferred from your commercial bank to the central bank.
Why is not possible?
Sorry, the question is, why is it not possible?
Yeah.
Because so just basically from a credit card to credit card, although it is recognized as payment for most transactions, that isn't necessarily always funds that you have available. To purchase the bonds, we need guaranteed payment. We need the guarantee to show that you actually have these funds available at the time of the purchase. So it would have to come from a bank account which you already own.
Should you connect government bank? Bank of the Bahamas is still a government bank. Sure, you're aware of that. Should you connect the government bank with that so you can see the proper transaction?
Can you repeat the question?
The Bank of the Bahamas, you're aware of Bank of the Bahamas,
Correct.
right? It's a government bank.
Correct.
Can you use them as a connective transaction to prove that a person is, if you choose to buy it online, you get a proper transaction? Because you could probably transact from the government bank to the exchange.
Now, I think the one thing that we have to be clear is the verbiage we're using. Because when we're saying buy online, if you're meaning buy electronically, everything we're doing is
electronically.
Yeah, everything we're doing is electronic transits, with the funds are being transferred to us electronically now.
Right.
If in regards to your question concerning the using the credit card to purchase the government securities, this is an issue. The reason why this is an issue where we have an asterisk next to that is how often do individuals use their credit card for other purchases and they either don't pay off the credit card or they pay that off 1 to 2 months down the line. So for that, in that instance, when you're purchasing security and purchasing investment, you need to have that fund in time, real time.
Should you punish other people for that? Some people going to pay it on time.
No, it's not a matter of punishment. It's just a matter of making sure that there are no ways that the line can be blurred or there's no gray area in regards to it. You have to keep a clear and concise rule and format for all purchases across the board.
Well, we are transforming to digital transmission. You mentioned the wallet earlier. Would we see that in the future?
Yes, so that is something that would be available in the future where you can actually use the sand dollars to purchase the government securities, because at the end of the day, the sand dollar is real-time money on your account. That is, the sand dollar is not like a credit card. The sand dollar would be linked to your actual bank account, your savings account, where funds are there. So you will be able to use that to purchase, yes.
Okay, let's be clear. In the future, right, in the future, with the sand dollar, I could buy the bonds.
Correct.
How, when you say future, is this end of the year or middle of the year?
Actually,
or next 5 years?
No, I can tell you this actually right now. If you have a sand dollar wallet, you are actually able to use that sand dollar wallet to purchase government securities right now with us.
Oh, it's available in Nassau right now. You probably I know the Family Island you're starting the Family Island first, right?
Yes, so few of the pilot programs for the sound law were launched in the Family Islands first, yes.
But Nassau is not a pilot.
No, the first pilot program for the sound law was actually in Abaco.
Right,
but it's more widespread in Nassau at this time, yes.
It's official.
Yes, correct, yes.
Okay, so I could go ahead and
if you have a sand dollar wallet, you are able to transfer the funds to us via that sand dollar wallet for the purchase of government securities, yes.
But give my ignorance, I didn't know the sand dollar is available in New Providence. How do I go by getting the sand dollar?
Now, for that instance, I will liaise with you separately, or have Mr. Benson contact me and I'll provide you information with that to get you set up.
Okay, I can call you later then.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Sure, that shouldn't be no problem. Spence.
Yes, sir.
I like these kind of days, man. I'm a business-minded, and other people, young men who get into business,
yes,
this kind of things come and bring a little more.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you.
Thank ZNS for transforming their news. I'm hoping, I say it on your show, I talked to a good gentleman, I won't mention his name, in TV programming. Hope to bring back that Caribbean news, man. You want to talk about the Caribbean?
That's right.
I did that Caribbean news because Bahamians need to connect. That's where the business is. That's
exactly.
Where the are.
Yes, sir.
A lot of I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
You need to talk about it in the future.
Yes,
the
sir.
Turks and Caicos.
Yes, I know.
We need to bring on the Turks and Caicos. Let Andrea Hamilton.
Yes.
The Caicos News. I hear the chairman of broadcasting talk about connecting with the Turks and Caicos. So that's connect with Andrea. Bring on the Turks and Caicos News at 5:30 on radio and TV on ZNS.
Good stuff, my brother.
I want my Caribbean news and I want the Turks.
All right.
Andrea, do it. Spence.
Appreciate
doing
you.
A good job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
And your brother on the other side, come on, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
You need to stop being scared. Open up those lines, man.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what you're scared of. You don't like talking to this Bahamian day.
I don't know.
I know you love Bahamian, so you're doing a good job.
Thank you so much, man.
Have a good day.
Appreciate you. All right. That's Dr. McPhee, Papa. He asked a couple of interesting questions, Mr. Thompson.
Oh, yeah, he was good. He was good, yeah. I like those kind of customers.
Yeah, he asked some good questions. What do you mean by a Treasury bill auction note? You're doing a good job educating the people.
No problem.
You know, growing up, you heard these things, but you never knew what they were all about, the auction notes.
Okay, so it's a Treasury bill auction. So the way it works is, for the government bonds, we have the IPOs where if you want to purchase, you just submit the application, you send the funds.
Right.
1-to-1, as you mentioned, $100 par value for the government bonds.
Yes.
Conversely, the Treasury bills, those are auctioned off by a bid. So, for example, let's say early this month we issued $150 million in Treasury bills. If an institution wanted to buy $20 million of that, the process is they would submit their tender bid indicating we want to purchase $20 million at this fixed price. Okay. They would indicate their price. So all institutions who participate, they would indicate their particular price.
Yes.
And from there, the auction takes place as who is awarded the Treasury bills.
Makes sense. Thank you.
So it's not arbitrarily where the central bank says, okay, we're going to give it to you, we're going to give it to you. No, it's all an auction process where these parameters are already fixed into the system prior to it.
Yes.
And it automatically is allocated for each institution.
Good stuff. We have Karen on the line. Good morning, Karen. Welcome to Immediate Response.
Morning, Spence, to you and your guests. I came in on the last part of a conversation in reference to payment by credit card. And, most business are done with credit card, which is your debit card.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
And I want to know really why is it you cannot use your debit card? Because the answer that he gave, he talked about money in real time.
Okay.
You cannot use your debit card unless you have money on it. So, I find that strange. And even if you use the $1, you have to use your funds. Otherwise, if you go to your bank account, that means when I add him, if he's not on the same, if they're not banking at the same bank that I bank on, I have to pay a service charge to send that funds to him, and then I have to add him to my bank account to send that money. So why is it I just cannot go on and use my debit card where money is to transfer if I'm interested?
No problem.
Thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate the call, Mr. Thompson.
So for clarification, the comment in regards to real-time payment was related to the credit card. Now, when it comes to a debit card, the debit card is actually linked to your bank account, so the funds would be transferred from the bank account to us.
Okay.
So it's not a matter of swiping a card to make the payments. It's just a matter that the payments for these securities and offerings are done through bank transfer. So whatever bank account your debit card is linked to, you will need to electronically transfer the funds from there to the central bank.
You want to explain that again? Just quickly.
Okay, so let me put it this way.
Yes, please.
When you're using your debit card, you swipe it against the machine.
Right.
Swipe it through the machine.
Right.
But that debit card is still linked to an actual bank account.
Yes.
So in that instance, to pay for the payments of the government securities, you are transferring the funds from your bank account to the central bank.
Okay.
So it's not, quote unquote, I'm using my debit card, but you're using the bank account that is linked to that debit card.
Yes.
So that's where the funds are coming from.
Okay. I got a text here from a Thompson gentleman indicating that you're making him proud and you're his son and you went to SAC. Good morning, Earl Thompson. Good morning, Earl. Yes, he is making me proud too. Mr. Thompson, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, we'll continue our discussion on this high-level financial situation here at the Central Bank. We'll be right back after these messages.
Looking for that hard-to-find windshield?
For as long as we've been a country, these islands have been a favorite for royalty. And for as long as the royals have adored us as a people, we've always been hospitable and gracious hosts. From a colony to a nation, now on the cusp of its golden anniversary, these shores have celebrated royal visits with class and dignity that is wholly Bahamian. As Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth celebrates her platinum anniversary on the throne, the islands of the Bahamas welcomes the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge on this, their first visit to the country. Our coverage starts Thursday, March 24th at 4 p.m. and continues through their departure Saturday, March 26th. The ZNS Network, your home for the royal visit. William and Kate.
This week on Journey TV, celebrate the journey of love with world-renowned transformational coach Lisa Nichols and veteran sports reporter Marcellus Hall. Hear their inspiring story of overcoming past failures to find and secure beautiful forever love. Catch this life-changing story this Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on ZNS. Journey TV, we share life's truths.
Andros is the #1 bone fishing destination on our planet. Sports fishermen visit our flats every year to participate in one of the most fulfilling outdoor activities known to man, fly fishing. And guess what? It's 100% sustainable. Without areas like the west side of Andros, sustaining this industry would be absolutely impossible. So let's take care of nature, and nature will take care of us.
Music producer and recording artist Katya joins us next time on Journey TV. Katya shares her journey of healing and self-discovery, which gave her the tools to thrive through anxiety and the courage to share her music with the world. Don't you miss this inspiring story. Tune in Thursdays at 8 p.m. on ZNS. Journey TV, we share life's truths.
By giving unconditionally, not expecting anything in return, I thought was a wonderful way of showing this love, and I believe that it is love that truly draws people, and so I thought we could cover a lot more people by feeding. Volunteers, you know, they have truly been sold.
My passion is to help, and I thank God for what I can do through the help of Bahamas Feeding Network.
We must make sure that your mission is intact. Yes, Mom! Agent 1, what is a touch? Physical contact, Mom. Agent 2, what is a good touch? Touches that make you feel alright, Mom. Such as? A high five, a handshake, even a kiss, Mom. Good. Now, Agent 3, what is a bad touch? Touches that make you feel not so good, Mom. Like a slap, a kick, a pinch. And most important, if someone touches your private part. And what do we do when someone gives us a bad touch? You tell a trusted adult, Mom. For help, Mom. Tell them, don't do that, Mom. Agent, I see that you understand. Now it's your mission to spread this information. Just remember that good touches are okay. And bad touches are not okay. So, Agent, go spread the word. Yes, Mom.
Hey, long time no see. You hear me?
Long time no see.
Boiled fish, stew conch. I love it all.
Tourists come here to take our tours, experience our sun, sand, and sea, and they also spend money around town.
I used to see a bunch of hogfish around here, but nowadays, I hardly see any.
You protect one area, the fish do their thing, make a bunch of babies, that spread all over the sea. What's the problem?
If we protect certain parts of our sea, it keeps all parts working right.
I was against that phase, but knowing what I know now, I totally agree with having marine protected areas.
I support marine protected areas.
We support marine protected areas.
Look for Bahamas Protected on Facebook.
Sign the petition. Sign the petition.
This is the time for our shout-outs now, which is proudly sponsored by Bahamas Retina and Eye Care Service in Sandy Port, where Dr. Dawn Russell Hermes is the ophthalmologist, and she have a wonderful team of associates down there with her in Sandy Port. Shout-outs this morning to Jamal Lewis all the way in San Salvador, Sandra Gay, Clifford Snake Eye Fernanda, Derek Edgecombe, Nathaniel Walker, Captain Bernie Starr in the United States. They told me yesterday that they listen to me every morning and I don't call out San Salvador. And I worked at the Riding Rock Inn many years ago. So a special shout out to those wonderful people in San Salvador. Shout out to Pastor Wellington Colley, good morning. Hugh Strawn, good morning. Gail Strawn, good morning. Trevor Rose, Philip Bryce over in Palm Beach. Perry DeCosta, Linda Nairn, Byron Woodside, Eugenia Thurston, Allison Middleton, Edmund Dorset, Odessa Gibson, Antoinette Butler Smith, Doreen Roll, Derwin Hakes, Nancy DeVoe, Cora Hepburn, Sidney DeVoe, Bernard Porky Dorset, Edmund Lewis, retired Commissioner of Police Paul Farquharson, Paul Darville in Freeport, Monty Pratt in Freeport, Sheldon Maycock, Alfred Gorlick, Shervin Evans, Cheryl Isaacs, good morning, Burkett Turnquest, Felix Stubbs, Laverne Hannah Roll, Lana Lavarity, Sandra Grant Roll, Leroy Major over at the BAIC, the chairman of BAIC, Reverend Leroy Major. Greg Bonamy, good morning. Kevin Johnson, all the way in New York. at the Sleepy Hollow Hotel. Katanga Johnson all the way in Washington, D.C. Andrew Albury in New York, the Bahamian American Association. Ivonne Double I Ingram and his lovely wife, Portia. Sandy Storr Hall, good morning. Alex Storr, good morning. Pastor Claudel Farrington. K. Darren Turnquest, and Barbara Cartwright. And I want to send a special congratulations out to my good brother Marcellus Hall on his wedding to Lisa Nichols, motivational speaker from the U.S., Lisa Nichols, who became really popular with The Secret. Yep, Marcellus did it. Happy birthday greetings goes out to Kishlane Smith from the Valley Boys. Happy birthday to Pastor Jarrod Newbold. Birthday greetings goes out to Anne-Marie Garraway. Volari Clark in Freeport, happy birthday. And Anthony Skibo Roberts is celebrating a birthday today. Birthday greetings also going out to Leslie Hanna, coming in from his family and friends, and of course from Ingrid Roma. And finally, happy anniversary to our very own Basil Dean, our weatherman here, and his lovely wife Brenda. They're celebrating a happy anniversary. And that's our shout-outs brought to you by Bahamas Retina and Eye Care Service in Sandy Port. Welcome back. My guest in this segment, of course, is Mr. Vincent Thompson, a man who hails from Sac, and is the son of the great Earl Thompson, another Sac man, and his lovely mother is Ava Burke Thompson. I think Ava went to QC. Yeah, I think she went to QC. Good morning, Ava. And your aunt is the principal over at Sac.
Correct.
Yes, say good morning to her.
Morning, CC.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yes. Well, let's continue our conversation. I had a question here, Mr. Thompson, text writer, just now, and they wanted to know about the sand dollar. Asking about the sand dollar. Let me say, can I just read it to you?
Go ahead.
It says, morning, find out why we can't answer the question of how to obtain the sand dollar openly. I'm sure there are others who wish to know as well. I'm curious as to why there's secrecy. Now, this is not your area, I understand, Mr. Thompson, but you have a message that you can share with the nation in terms of the sand dollar.
Correct. So we won't discuss the sand dollar in this segment. However, anybody who has any questions regarding the sand dollar, they can feel free to check out the website www.sanddollar.bs or contact us at the Central Bank at 302-9880 with any questions or concerns, and we'll be happy to answer them and shed a little bit of light on it.
Thank you.
There's no secrecy.
Okay, thank you. Chrissy Stubbs is tuning in all the way from Florida. She's listening to us this morning. The numbers are called 324-4504 or 5. We have another message in here coming in. Yes, okay, thank you. So let's continue. You were going to explain a couple of things, Mr. Thompson, Vincent Thompson.
Yes, so a number of some of the regular questions, some of the frequent questions we get from a number of customers whenever we discuss the government bonds is, what is a good amount to start with?
Yes.
What amount do you recommend I start with?
Right.
And what I always tell customers is there is no fixed amount.
Okay.
Look at your own financial situation and then you go from there.
You make a determination.
Exactly. For example, you have customers who, some say, oh, I'll wait till I have $1,000 in saving, or I'll wait till I have $2,000 or $5,000, or however be it. That what they should be looking at is building up their own investment portfolio.
Right.
For example, this month you might have extra $300. You might want to participate in the IPO this month.
Okay.
Next month you only have $200.
Yes.
And so on and so forth. And then somewhere down the line you notice after 6 months, instead of waiting until you have $4,000 to save up, which you may not get until the following year,
right.
At the end of 6 months, you have a portfolio built up now of $2,000, $3,000, and you're getting different interest payments at different interest rates. So you're actually getting a steady flow of passive income coming into your bank account. So what I would tell investors, or what I would tell potential investors, there is no set amount, no fixed amount that you should wait to start with.
Okay.
Look at your financial situation, any excess funds that you might have. Mm-hmm. If you're interested in investing, look at that, because at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is the opportunity and the interest that you are receiving right now from any of the government securities is higher than just a regular savings account or just leaving the money possibly under your mattress, albeit.
Okay.
These are opportunities that are not being taken advantage of by a number of the investing public because either one, they didn't know the opportunity was out there.
Exactly.
Or two, they did not know the way the investments work. And us at the Central Bank, we're willing to advise on, well, not advise, we're willing to inform and shed some light on the government securities.
We have a caller on the line now. Good morning, Mr. McIntosh. Good morning. Welcome to Immediate Response.
Good morning.
Morning.
And morning to your guests.
Morning.
With respect to government bonds, at the maturity date of any holdings that existed prior, at the end of that period, at the maturity time, what qualifications you need to enter a second time? You understand the question?
Okay, I believe what you're asking is, are you able to simply roll over the investment once it matures? If that is the case, unfortunately, no, you are not able to automatically roll it over. At the maturity, the funds are automatically paid out to you. However, you can turn around and reinvest those funds into the next available offering. We just do not allow for the automatic rollover. We are obligated to pay out the funds to the customer.
And then you reapplied if you want to enter a second time.
Correct.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much.
Good question, Mr. McIntosh.
Good.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. That's a good question, eh?
Oh yeah, that's actually one of the frequent questions. A lot of customers always want to know: do I have to get my money back?
Right.
Is it able just to roll over automatically? And we have to pay the money.
Yes.
Because we're not going to make that decision for you. We're not going to just keep the funds on hand with us. We're going to pay it out, and we're going to let you know of the next available offering where you could reinvest these funds.
Okay. Yeah, so there was something that you wanted to add this morning, Mr. Thompson, that you wanted to share.
Okay, so another aspect of the investments that may be misconstrued from the general public is the rate of return, the return, and the funds that are paid out. A lot of the misconception when it comes to these investments is a customer would call and ask, "Hi, if I put in $200, how much am I getting back on interest payments?" And quite often they're disappointed if we inform them that, okay, your $200, you're only getting $10 interest. Oh, I thought I was getting more. If I put in $200, I'm not getting $200 back. At the end of the day, this is an investment. It is a low-risk investment, so then you're not going to be able to put in $200 and get $200 back in 6 months down the line.
Right.
You're still building your portfolio. You're getting a steady rate of return, and it's a greater return than what other alternatives there are out to the investment. So what we are encouraging and what we're trying to instill within the investing culture is that there are no quick turnarounds. There is no surefire, or I put in $200, I'm getting $200 back the next 3-4 months.
Yeah, there's a sort of an instant kind of mentality among our people in terms of that, like the microwave kind of mentality.
Instant gratification.
Instant
that's what we're looking for. And
yes.
It's
but this doesn't happen when you do that investing. Unadvised, well, not advised is a strong word.
There's that word again.
Yeah. Well, the Bahamas government registered stock. How does that work?
So those are actually the government bonds that we've been talking about. So you put in a fixed amount.
Right.
For simplicity, let's say you put in $1,000.
Okay.
And you put in $1,000 for the 30-year bond. The 30-year bond right now is paying 6.5%. So if you invest at $1,000, every 6 months you're going to get an interest payment on that $1,000. And
at the end of the 30 years,
at the end of 30 years, you get the original $1,000 back. So you would have been receiving interest payments for 30 years, plus you get the $1,000 back at the end of your term. So it's not an instant, 6 months down the line, I'm getting my $1,000 back.
No.
But at the end of the life of that $1,000 investment for 30 years, the return is greater than what you originally put in.
Good stuff. Awesome sauce. The numbers are called 325-5404. 325-5405. I'm having a discussion with a dynamic young individual, Mr. Vincent Thompson, whose parents I know very well, and he's making them proud this morning, and he's wearing a red tie. Is that a red tie?
This will be the only time you ever see me wear a red tie.
Okay. Yes, but as we continue on this morning, what are some other areas you think that we could talk about in terms of Bahamians? Because a lot of this is new to a lot of Bahamians, Mr. Thompson, and we shared about that during the break.
So one of the main things is we just want to encourage and try to promote the financial literacy of the Bahamian culture, because there are a number of misconceptions, and it's just there's a lack of knowledge out there that individuals are not taking advantage of.
Right.
Naturally, most people know of a saving account with a commercial bank. But when you compare the return or the potential interest that you would get from a government security, albeit a treasury bill or a government bond, you would see that there are other opportunities.
Of course.
And this is another thing that we're encouraging the new investors, because as we mentioned earlier, we've stopped the onboarding of new customers for government securities. So as a result, if you're trying to be a new customer,
you have to go through
a broker-dealer. So we encourage you to look at the list of broker-dealers.
Yes.
Look at the services that these broker-dealers are offering, because they are also offering a number of advantages that you can take advantage of and that you can use to optimize your investment potential and learn a little bit more. These are opportunities out there that the Bahamian cultures are not taking advantage of, and that is hurting us in the long run, because at the end of the day, as a holistic country, we are not very financially literate and we're not very financially savvy. So this is something that we're trying to encourage. And I applaud you for having us on this morning, because this is a conversation that we encourage. We have these conversations whenever customers call into the central bank, and we try to share whatever information that we can with them.
Yes.
So this is a good dialogue that we encourage, and we hope continues going down the line.
Of course, yes. I think it's important to educate our people. And not to say that they're dumb, but just in terms of ignorance, and ignorance means not knowing.
Correct.
And there's a lot of things we don't know. I've had an opportunity to conduct programs for the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I did it, company training, and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank in Bassett and Kitts. Over a period of time. So I know a little bit about central banks and the power that they have. And the power they have. But what I found interesting is when I was in Cayman doing the program, they looked to the Bahamas, and what we're doing here in terms of the central bank. But as we continue on, Mr. Thompson, we still have a few more minutes left. The original conversation, and that, like I mentioned, that came from, I want to go back to that just 1 minute. Okay. Yeah, I have to go back to that right now. The original conversation that we had, starting off with the text from the lady who wanted to know.
Oh, the shift in the shift. The discontinuing the onboarding.
Yeah,
of
let's
customers.
talk about that for a minute, because I think still that's important. That's very important. I think you have the gist of what I was asking about.
So just a few points I could touch on before, while we still have a few time.
Yes.
So as we mentioned earlier, starting March 1st of this year, 2022, we discontinued the onboarding of new customers. What that means is that any new customer who wants to purchase or participate in any of the offerings for government securities, they would have to go through a broker-dealer. The list of licensed broker-dealers is ready and available on the BizX website, where they can see all the broker-dealers. It's free and clear for them to go look at the broker-dealers and see whose services align with their investment ideals, and they can participate via that.
Yes.
Now, if you're an existing customer, you are still allowed to participate with the central bank in these offerings until December 31st, 2022. So from that, there are a number of questions that we received from customers in regards to the change. One of the questions is, what if I do not want to change? What if I do not want to get a broker account?
Right.
Now, we inform customers that is fine. You do not have to get a broker account. You do not have to get a broker account to participate with your current holdings. The only thing that you have to be cognizant of is that after December 3rd, 2022, if you do not have a broker account, you're not going to be able to perform any transactions with your holdings.
Okay.
What that means is, if you currently have holdings right now, and at any time you want to liquidate or break those holdings, from today until the end of December, you're able to do that via the central bank.
But once December hits.
But once January 1st, 2023 comes,
yes.
If you want to transact anything, you would need a broker account. You won't be able to do anything via the central bank over the counter.
And that's important for people to know, right?
It is very important because there's a misconception out there.
Okay.
Another key point is what happens if I don't get a broker account? So what happens to my holdings or my investments if I don't get a broker account?
Yes.
And the answer to that is simple. Nothing. Nothing happens. If you do not get a broker account, your holdings still remain the same. For example, let's say I have holdings at Central Bank. The holdings are in Vincent Thompson right now with the Central Bank. If I choose not to get a broker account this year, starting 2023, the holdings will still be in Vincent Thompson.
Yes.
The interest payments will still be coming to Vincent Thompson. I will still get the maturity at the end of their life. It's just a matter of I can't re-register those holdings. I can't redeem those holdings early. I can't break them. That's the only thing that changes.
Okay.
Other than that, your investment still is the same. You still receive your interest payments on the scheduled interest payment dates. There's no change. Now, if at any time you want to purchase new securities after December 31st, you would need a broker account. We have some customers who ask, okay, I have a number of holdings with the central bank. Do I have to transfer all of them? Do I have to re-register all of them? Or can I leave some? You can split if you can do partial. For example, let's say I had $100,000 in securities with government bonds.
Yes.
I wish I had it, but let's say I had it.
Yes.
If I look at myself and I say, okay, about 50,000 of this I want to hold to maturity.
Yes.
And a 50,000 I may need at some point in the future I may do something with, I can get a brokerage account for that 50,000.
Okay.
And leave the remaining 50,000 in Vincent Thompson with the central bank, and that would be, I just won't be able to touch those, which might actually turn out to be a benefit going on the line, because if you don't have access to touch it, there's less incentive. There's less incentive. It's like, it's almost like cutting a credit card when it's mailed to you. You cut the credit card, you can't use it, you don't spend any money.
Right.
So if I have these holdings with the central bank in my name following 2022, I can't touch it. It's set there. It's gonna sit there. I'm gonna get my interest. I'll get my maturity at the end of the time.
Right.
So that's the major thing that a number of customers need to be aware of, that they may have misinformation on in regards to what happens if they do not get a brokerage account to their securities. Nothing happens. You just can't enact any transactions with it once it happens.
Okay. So a number of persons have been so used to just going directly to the bank to do their own transactions.
Yes.
So now this is something new for them in terms of having to shift over to a broker.
Yes.
Yeah. With the 2 minutes left, I just want you to share what else that you have on your mind right now before we close out. Vincent Thompson.
I encourage all investors, all potential investors, if you have any concerns, any questions in regards to the government security process or any interest in the government securities, reach out to the central bank. If you're looking specifically for the government securities, you can reach out to the markets unit at domestic debt at centralbankbahamas.com. Our unit is very savvy, it's very informative in regards to the government securities. We're willing and able to help you at any time. If you have any questions, you could call us at 302-9880 at the Central Bank, and they'll connect you with any of the individuals in regards to the government securities and government bonds, and we'll be able to shed the light and assist you as much and as best as we can.
Okay. Can you please give my regards to Allison Middleton, please?
I will. I will.
She was able to work this out for us. I appreciate you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, Mr. Thompson, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, a great presentation, as I expect from a man from SAC.
Oh, but of course, you know.
Yeah, we're going to go to a quick break, but we'll be right back after these messages on Immediate Response.
Service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training in conjunction with this channel. Log on and stay on. As parents, we will not always be present while our children engage in online learning. Ensure that your child is getting the most from the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training's learning management system. Here are some tips to help you establish your child's online learning routine. Number 1, designate a workspace to reduce distraction. The bed is not recommended. Number 2, each morning ensure your child is alert and devices are ready to log on. Number 3, periodically check in on your child by calling, texting, or FaceTiming to ensure that they are participating in their online classes. Number 4, communicate with your child's teachers to stay updated on your child's progress and online attendance. Number 5, remember, it takes a village to raise a child, so you can create a WhatsApp or other social media group with parents to share relevant information pertaining to your child's online education. Education is important. Log on and stay on. This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training in conjunction with this channel.
Do you or anybody you know suffer from diabetes or a little sugar? Have you been afraid to attend a clinic or any healthcare facilities? Be assured that your health is our #1 priority.
Every government clinic in New Providence and the Family Islands have introduced strict COVID-19 safety guidelines and protocols to ensure your health and safety whenever you visit. If you have diabetes or any other chronic illness, it's important that you keep your regular appointments with your primary care provider to monitor your health status. Please don't miss your regular appointments. Seek medical care today. Your health is in your hands.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and the Healthy Bahamas Coalition.
With class and dignity that is wholly Bahamian. As Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth celebrates her platinum anniversary on the throne, the islands of the Bahamas welcomes the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge on this, their first visit to the country. Our coverage starts Thursday, March 24th at 4 p.m. and continues through their departure Saturday, March 26th. The ZNS Network, your home for the royal visit. William and Kate.
Are you searching for light and life in these trying times? The kind that...
The natural resources of the Bahamas play a critical role in supporting Bahamian livelihoods. For example, the fishing and tourism industry, which include fishermen, seafood exporters, hoteliers, dive operators, restaurants, and others. Collectively, they generate approximately $1.5 billion a year. Therefore, we must respect and preserve what we have. These resources belong to us.
This is my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
So let's all do our part to maintain our local economy and a good quality of life. Remember, if we take care of nature, nature will take care of us.
Do the right thing. We all need to help. Stop the crime before it's our time.
Guess what, Mommy? I feel good because I told somebody about Larry and the teacher get our money back. So pick up the phone. No one will never call you a snitch.
Call Crime Stoppers Bahamas today at 328-8477 or from the Family Islands, 242-300-8477. It's safe, and the life you save may be your own.
This public service announcement was brought to you by Crime Stoppers in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
For as long as we've been a country, these islands have been a favorite for royalty.
The natural resources of the Bahamas play a critical role in supporting Bahamian livelihoods. For example, the fishing and tourism industry, which include fishermen, seafood exporters, hoteliers, dive operators, restaurants, and others. Collectively, they generate approximately $1.5 billion a year. Therefore, we must respect and preserve what we have. These resources belong to us.
This is my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
This is my livelihood.
So let's all do our part to maintain our local economy and a good quality of life. Remember, If we take care of nature, nature will take care of us.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training in conjunction with this channel. Some of the world's greatest heroes are teachers. It's for this reason that the Ministry and Department of Education and Technical and Vocational Training want to ensure that our teachers are fully supported. To this end, the ministry is conducting a survey for public school teachers with a goal to hear your concerns. Be sure to look out for the survey, which will be sent via your 365 ministry email. Deadline to complete March 18th, 2022. You are valuable teachers. You are the lifeline of our education system. Let your voices be heard. Remember that we care and you matter. This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training in conjunction with this channel.
For as long as we've been a country, these islands have been a favorite for royalty. And for as long as the royals have adored us as a people, we've always been hospitable and gracious hosts. From a colony to a nation, now on the cusp of its golden anniversary, these shores have celebrated royal visits with class and dignity that is wholly Bahamian. As Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth celebrates her platinum anniversary on the throne, the islands of the Bahamas welcomes the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge on this, their first visit to the country. Our coverage starts Thursday, March 24th at 4 p.m. and continues through their departure Saturday, March 26th. The ZNS Network, your home for the royal visit. William and Kate.
There's a spark of greatness in each of us. That spark is called personality. Individual gifts and talents provide the fuel to set that spark ablaze. Each child has the right to an education which values their personality and nurtures their talents, while teaching them to be respectful to their parents and their cultures.
Did you know that 1/3 of all traffic fatalities occur as a result of excessive speed? Excessive speed impedes a driver's point of perception, which affects braking distance. In the inner city, residential areas, and high pedestrian traffic areas, the speed limit ranges from 15 to 25 miles per hour. On the outskirts of the island, especially where a sign is not posted, the law dictates that the speed limit shall be 30.
Welcome back to Immediate Response. In this segment, we are joined by a lovely Bahamian author and the marketing rep, Ms. Chanel Evans, welcome to Immediate Response.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you. And Corinne Evans.
Yes.
Welcome.
Morning.
Good to
Thank
see you. I got a text already in to say good morning to Miss Bahamas. Coming in from a young man. You would know who that is, eh?
No, I don't.
Yeah, yes. Simeon Gardner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she
Yes,
sent that in to me early this morning.
Yes.
And make sure I let you know. All right?
Yes.
Yes, so welcome. It's good to have you here. You know, I started this Wednesday book program to encourage Bahamians to read and to document and to write their stories. And we've been doing well with it. We have been able to partner with the UB and Chapter 1. So once a month we will be broadcasting live from Chapter 1, featuring authors and so forth. I think reading is so important. It takes you to a different point. So tell us about your book, J. Chanel Evans. Is that North Andros Evans?
Yes, it is. Nicholstown.
Nicholstown. Shout out to all the Nicholstown people.
Yes.
Yeah, those great Evans in there.
Okay, I have two books. My book today is my most recent release, The Darker Side of Love.
And it's a novel.
Yes.
Yes.
Mystery novel.
A mystery novel. It's even more interesting because a lot of Bahamians, from what I've found, they either write self-help books or poetry.
Yes.
But it's interesting to see someone do a novel.
Yes.
And a mystery novel at that. The Darker Side of Love.
Yes.
Oh, so Miss Evans, this comes from a little experience, or how do you create your characters?
Well, as I tell persons, the book has a life of its own. It started out with a family friend challenging me to enter a short story competition. So I sat down and said, okay, let me see what story I can write. So I sat down and I started writing, and the story just developed.
Okay.
So I can't say I sat down and figured out this would be this character or this would be that character.
Right.
To be honest, as I wrote, some of the things and the characters as they developed surprised me.
Okay.
So I was like the reader.
Yeah, at the same time.
Myself, at the same time, experiencing the book as I was writing it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Can you do us a favor this morning? Can you just read an excerpt from this, one of your favorite pieces, on air so we can hear? The entire nation can hear, all of the islands and everywhere else. And then I'm going to invite Corinne to say a few words.
I'll read the preface.
Go right ahead.
Grandmama, the flowers are just so beautiful. 6-year-old Elkie swooned as she sat on the little garden stool beside Virginia. Her round brown face lit up with pleasure as she tried to take in the vast expanse of roses and other brightly colored flowers. Virginia chuckled softly and with a gloved finger, dusty from pulling weeds, tapped her granddaughter playfully on the nose. Just like you, my little pixie. Elkie giggled and wiped the dust off her nose with the back of her hand. Then she became serious. With her head tilted to one side, she said, Grandmama, Mommy says this garden belonged to your mommy, that she used to love being with all the flowers. Then one day, wicked people made her die, and you couldn't spend time in the garden with her anymore. She said you were sad for a very long time after your mommy died. Are you still sad, Grandmama? Virginia paused and sat back on her heels. She looked away into the distance. The child's question had conjured up a lot of memories. She became filled with sadness, and she felt cold fingers run down her spine. It was a dark time that Elkie was asking about, too dark for her to share with one so innocent. She tried to shake it off and look down at her precious granddaughter, who was watching her face ever so intently. She mustered up a smile. It was a sad time, yes, but I'm not sad anymore. I have you, Pumpkin, and all these beautiful flowers. What is there to be sad about? You know what? It is hot out here. How about some nice, cool lemonade? Elkie laughed and clapped her hands. Yes. She got up and ran into the porch ahead of Virginia. Inside the house, Virginia washed her hands and poured lemonade for her and little Elkie. And then she took fresh baked cookies from a jar and set them on the kitchen table for them to nibble on with their lemonade. While Elkie munched and chatted, Virginia's thoughts drifted back to the time of her granddaughter had innocently referred to earlier in the garden. It was 15 years ago, but she remembered it clearly as if it only was a few days had passed.
Good stuff, good stuff. Thank you so much.
Good.
Yeah, very good, eh?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, good stuff. So, Ms. Evans, when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer, an author?
I have been writing all of my life in one form or the other.
Did you grow up in Andros?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My parents nurtured in me a love for books. They were a lover of books.
That's a good thing.
Yes. My mother, she recited the poems of the great poets, Longfellow, Wordsworth,
Really?
Frost. Yes, she recited them to me.
That's good stuff.
As like when we go into bed as nursery rhymes and
Yes.
stuff, she recited the poems. So. And then my father, he always chatted about the classics. He loved the classics, Charles Dickens and all of that.
Really?
So I had an early appreciation
Yes.
for books. So
Coming from your parents with that level of sophistication with books.
Yes.
You couldn't help it.
No, I
You couldn't miss it. Old people say you couldn't shun it.
I could not.
No, you could not shun it.
I could not.
Yeah. So how long does it take you to write a book? You've got 3 books already. How long does it normally take?
Well, the first book was a collection of poems. So they were written over a number of years.
Okay.
The second book, a devotional, the same was with that. There were a number of devotional pieces that I wrote over the years and I compiled. But this book in particular took me 3 months.
Only 3 months?
Only 3 months.
Ooh, it was just flowing.
It was just flowing.
Yeah, because, as a writer, it takes a while. Sometimes there's no inspiration.
It does.
And you go and you realize it's been months before you've written anything.
Yes.
And that's right. And it's 3 months.
3 months. In 3 months'
It
time.
was just like the faucet just turned on.
Yes.
And everything came out.
When I was at work, I was looking forward to getting home, to get to my computer site, because I wanted to see what was going to happen next in my own book.
Wow, awesome.
So it just flowed.
Awesome sauce. What advice can you give to potential Bahamian writers, authors who want to write and publish books and stuff like that?
My first thing, particularly from my own experience, get familiar with the publishing industry.
Yes.
Yes. It's one thing to write and write well, but you need to know the industry, the ins and outs, and educate yourself on the different publishing companies, because different companies publish.
There's so many out there.
There are many of them
There's so
out
many
there,
out there.
and there are many who are not scrupulous.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
So you can find yourself being taken for a ride.
Yes.
If you're not educated. So the important thing is to be educated about the industry, talk to other writers. I found that some are willing to give you information
And some are not.
and some are not.
Yes,
But if you
yes.
can find someone who is able to talk with you and tell you of their experience and give you guidance, that is
You
an
can go
important
from
thing.
there.
Yeah, it's an important
Yeah.
thing to do.
That's good. Let me bring Corinne Evans in here.
Hi.
Welcome to Immediate Response.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you share your experience and what you do here as the marketing person?
Well, actually, I am. She is a wonderful person and very talented and passionate about what she does.
Yes.
And I've read this book and I will recommend it to everyone. Everyone should read this book.
Right.
Right. And as she said, it really. I started it and I couldn't stop. I couldn't take
couldn't put it down.
I couldn't put it down. I had to finish it, right? So for me, I want this to be in every bookstore.
Yes.
Right? And we also would like to have it with us. Persons calling in who would like a copy of it, we will have it for them.
Okay.
So it's just to push this book. It's a great book.
It's a great book,
and
yes.
she's, as I said, she's talented and she even does postcards,
Yes,
some cards.
yes, right.
Right. So, I just want to see her work right out there. So I appreciated it. And as I said, she did this in 3 months.
Wow. This
That's
is just
talent.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
raw talent right there.
That's just amazing.
And I would like to share her work
Yes.
with the Bahamian people and other persons in the countries.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
So where do you normally get your ideas from, Ms. Evans, J. Chanel Evans?
As I drive along, I see things and it will occur to me, that could be a great story. So I get stories from everyday life and from things like I'm talking with persons and they're talking about their experience and I say, you know what? In my mind, I said, that could be a great story
Yes.
or a great aspect to a story. So I see like the artist would see life in colors.
Yeah,
I
you see it
in words.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Who were some of the people who were your early influences besides your parents when you were growing up in Nicholstown and Ross?
Well, I had teachers who liked my work, and then there was a lady. She was a winter resident. I remember because I liked to sit on the beach. When I grew up, we lived near to the beach. I'd sit on the beach with my paper, writing with my poems. And I remember her coming by, and she said, "What are you writing?" And I showed her, and she said, "Oh," she said, "you should get it published."
Right.
She was a elderly lady, Mrs. Jackson, her name was.
Okay.
So I'm very young. So those persons who looked at my work and showed an interest. And I had English teachers in high school. One in particular, I spoke to her just last week.
You serious?
Yeah, she is now Mrs. Atalia Davies. But
Atalia Davies?
Yes.
For the Anglican Diocese?
Yes.
Good morning, Atalia Davies. We grew up in Sunday school together at St. George's Anglican Church.
She's
married to Father Davies.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I think he's at All Saints.
Yes.
A small world.
She was one of my English teachers. But the interesting thing about
what school was that?
It was North Andrews High, now Huntley P. Christie.
Yeah, Mr. Christie was a great man. I met him many years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a great man.
So in talking, she was trying to place my face, but she couldn't place my face. But she said, "I remember." She said, "Are you the one who wrote?"
Yes.
So I said, "Yeah." So she remembered my writing.
Yes.
Yeah, but she always encouraged me when she was my English teacher. So those persons contributed. But apart from that, like I said, my parents introduced me to books, so I read a lot.
That was just my next question.
Yeah.
Here's this: you're taking a trip now to Zurich, Switzerland. And you can only take 3 books with you on this long flight to Zurich. What those 3 books would be that you would take, that you would choose to take, J. Chanel Evans?
Number 1, my Bible will have to go with me.
Okay, all right, yes, the Bible.
My Bible will have to go with me. Mystery book, because I love D. Henderson's mystery. John Grisham.
I'm a John Grisham man. I love Grisham.
Yes.
Oh,
so
I love him.
They would be my 3.
Those 3?
Yes.
Yeah, I lived in the Cayman Islands for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, for quite a while, working as a speaker and a trainer.
Okay.
And they honor Grisham down there because he did a lot of his books were written based on Cayman.
Yes,
and I love his books. Good stuff. So they would be 3.
Yes.
All right. What is one of the most surprising things you learned in writing your books? What is something that surprised you after you became an author or writer?
Well, there were the good things that surprised me, the response you get from people who really love your work and show an appreciation for it. That was something that surprised me.
Yes.
And, that really blessed me. The hard side of it is being when you encounter persons who are not really above board. Because once you have a book out there in publication, you have persons who scour the market and look for authors, and they start to contact you.
Yes, they do.
And then you get contacted by these people who want to sell you this beautiful dream, and you get roped in, and you find out that they're not legit.
Exactly.
So that was.
I'm smiling because it happened to me. I didn't fall for it though, and they're very persistent.
They're very.
I've got another scam thing from a guy now saying that he wants to. He's representing the established publishing houses. My book was self-published. My books are self-published, so they want to take it over.
Yes.
And his story is they're going to pay $54,000 for the rights to publish my book with a publishing house like Random Books or one of those ones.
I've had those calls.
So you have to be very careful.
Yeah, she says.
And I'm very skeptical anyhow. Why would you want to give me $54,000 for my book? You don't know me. You don't know anything about me, and you just found me.
Yes, exactly.
So that's something that you have to warn people about.
Yes, and that's a part of educating persons out there, because you might wonder, why would a stranger offer you $54,000 for your book?
Exactly.
The thing is, that your book is worth that much, so you can fall prey.
You can easily fall prey. Yes.
You could, right?
Yes.
And you might be praying, asking for the, answer my prayer, and here comes this person.
Exactly.
So you have to, as she said, educate yourself to make sure that you're familiar with the whole but
yes, you have to.
It's touch and go, and it's
yes, it's a lot.
It's
but
a lot.
You have to be very careful, and that's a good point that you mentioned. So, growing up as a child, what did you want to be in life?
Well, I always wanted to write. Apart from that, I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
But I always wanted to write. I started trying to write books from very early on.
Okay. That's very interesting.
So I always wanted to write.
Yeah. So you're in your comfort zone now. You're in your element as a writer and an author.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. What other advice can we give to, well, not that, but we have a problem with, I think in a country where we don't read enough.
Yes.
Share some advice on how important reading is, please, J. Chanel Evans.
Reading opens the mind, and it helps you to sometimes prepare for life experiences before you encounter them, because you may find it in the life of someone, a character in one of your books.
Exactly.
Especially if you're reading those kinds of books that edify.
Yes.
Yeah.
And uplift.
And uplift you. So, and then, because sometimes you find that you've read this thing and then you have this experience and you say, I read this in a book and this is how the author said that I should approach this. So you get insights on how to handle life experiences.
Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Anything you want to add, Corinne Evans?
Well, for me, I'm here to market the book, get it out there. I want the book out there in everyone's house. I mean, it's good to read also, and I loved reading Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. So
okay,
yes, and I guess
takes me back.
I think that helps me with my English exams.
Yes,
because writing a story, everything just kept flowing.
Yes.
So I'm all for reading.
That's good. That's good. Then that's good. That's important.
That's very important.
That's very important. But in your opinion, J. Chanel Evans, what is the most important elements of good writing, if you were to say? Good writing.
English, first of all. You have a good command of your English language. And to know, tone, because sometimes you may write something in a harsh way, or the tone of your writing. Well, in a novel takes different aspects, so you have different tones in a novel.
Right.
But if you're writing like encouragement or self-help book, you don't write something where you're overly critical. Or if you give a criticism of something, you have a corresponding positive to correspond to it.
Yes.
So those are the important things in writing, because like I said, my second book was a devotional. So even if you present things that you say that, sins that happens in a person's life, you look at ways, you present ways that will help them to edify and point them in the right direction.
Okay, good stuff. Now, what would you say, Ms. Evans, is your most interesting writing quirk? Writers and authors have some quirk. What would you say is your most interesting quirk?
That I pray before I write.
Awesome sauce.
And I ask the Lord to tell me what it is He wants to say.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because it's not my words. I represent Him.
Yes. In
the novel, because the novel is a faith-based novel.
It's faith-based?
It's faith-based.
That's good stuff.
The main character is a believer, and it talks about her dealing with the pain of loss and how she handles the crisis that develops within her family.
And we're having some loss right now in this country, Evans. We just had a suicide case. What do you say about that? I mean, I know you're a woman of faith, a woman of God, a believer. What do you say about that?
I think people, they're losing hope and they're despairing, and the important thing is for them to realize that God is our source.
Yes, He is.
And He's promised to be all things to us. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people feel alone because they don't have persons in their lives, or they don't have things in their lives. But we have to know how to connect to the ultimate source, because He will help you in your time of loneliness. Mm-hmm. You have to know that He's your provider.
Yes.
And even if you don't see it, if you're trusting Him in some ways, He'll provide it.
Yes.
Even if He sends someone to bring the thing that you need and not the money to buy the thing.
Exactly.
But He has provided it.
Yes.
So that's important. And it's important for us to surround others and to speak positive things into their lives, because we don't know. Because a lot of times you may see somebody smiling,
you don't know,
but
what
on the inside they're hurting.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
So always speak life and encouragement to people.
Awesome,
so
awesome sauce. Awesome sauce.
Be a little less selfish.
Yes, yes.
So I think people can be like that.
Yes, thanks, Corinne. Now, writing can be emotionally draining. What do you do to recharge? How have you dealt with that?
I guess
because you pouring yourself out onto the pages.
You do. Well, like I said, with this book, it took 3 months. After I wrote it, then I felt the drain.
You felt the drain afterwards.
I've given this.
Yeah, and you gave birth to it.
Yeah, I've given it, and then I felt, okay, is anybody going to read? So discouragement and all those things
started to come.
Yeah, so I had to realize, okay, what did I write it for? You have to think about
who
you wrote it for, the purpose that you wrote it, and those things.
You go back to that.
Yeah, those things recharge you.
Yes, yes. Speaking of that, and then you have your marketing person here. A lot of persons are talented and gifted in writing, but they lack the skills for marketing and promoting their books. I had an author sat right here where Ms. Corinne is sitting and told me that. And they've written about 10 books, but don't have the skills to market it, don't know how to set up a book signing and a book launch and all these kind of things. And some people it's innate how to promote and stuff, but others, it's a challenge. What would you say to that in helping? Because I went into a bookstore and the lady told me, said, Bahamian books don't move fast.
Yes.
She said, they don't really move fast. She said, some have been in here for years and may have sold 2 or 3 copies. And I was so disappointed to hear that. But the work becomes on you as the author to make sure your word get out about your publication.
It does.
You can't leave it to anybody else.
No.
It's up to you how you do that. So share something for us, please.
Well, I learned that in my earlier books, because my poetry book, like she said, it was sitting on a shelf.
Yes.
So in my ignorance, I thought that I wrote this book.
It would just sell. People would just come and buy it. I want one of Ms. Evans' books. Come on, I break the house down for that. It doesn't happen that way.
It does not happen.
No, it does not happen that way.
The work begins after the book is published.
That's right.
Yeah, you have to get out there and find innovative ways. In doing research, like I said, talking to other authors and other people in marketing industry, so you have to connect, look for marketing people, talk with them, and see what works. A lot of them charge you a lot of money.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of times I talk with them to get ideas and see what it is they're saying, so to know. So you make use of social media, people are using it to make use of.
A lot of it is free.
Yes, it is.
A lot of it is free. And Corinne, you can't beat free.
No.
Corinne Evans, you can't beat free. And I don't care what, you can't beat free.
You can't
create your author's website.
Yes.
I created on mine I got the basic plan, a free site, and I created my author's website, and you put information about your book out there, and I created a Facebook page for the book.
Yes.
So you do those things, you sign up on Twitter, whatever platform is available.
Yes.
And you keep sharing information about the book. Start a blog. I started
pushing because, like I said, a lot of people just assume that once the book is written. Oh, I have a text here, Anita. This writer would like to know if you have any of your books in Freeport. People pay attention to this; they're listening, so they want to know if you have any books in Freeport.
Not as yet, but I'm looking at how to get them into the other islands.
Okay, yeah, Freeport and the other islands.
Yes.
Abaco and the Exumas and so forth. Okay, not as yet. All right, but then I'm sure you'll be working on that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Let's continue on. How much time do you normally spend writing in a typical day?
I spend at least 3-4 hours because when I get into writing, it's like it takes all of my time. Sometimes I go to sleep after 2-3 o'clock.
Wow.
And at night.
Yes.
Because I'm writing.
Yeah, you're writing. Yes.
Because apart from writing the books, I've also launched into greeting cards. So I'm writing for
tell us about that, please, because tell us about that. You're the Bahamian Hallmark.
I want to be, yes.
Yes, you're the Bahamian Hallmark. So
goal.
tell us about that. I don't know if anybody else doing Bahamian cards. I mean, to the level that you are. So please talk about that.
Well, greeting cards was also something I always wanted to do. I love cards. I always like to receive them. And so at the end of last year, a friend of mine again said to me, why don't you produce some more cards? So I thought about it. I said, okay, I can do that. My book is finished, waiting for it to come out.
Yes.
And I needed something to still be writing.
Of course.
So I started, and I had a collection of pictures. My manager is also a photographer.
She is?
So I got pictures from her. I got pictures from other family members and other friends.
And you've used them in the cards?
And I've used them in the cards, and I've given them the credit inside the card to say the cover photo is by whoever it's by.
So you do cards for people in love, romance cards?
We have, I'll show you one. We have
Oh, yes.
69 designs. So we've done cards for Valentine's, for Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthday, Easter, thinking of you, sympathy.
Awesome sauce. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good, very good stuff. Yes. Thank you. So how did you get into the cards? I mean, that's something different, Corinne?
That is different.
That is different.
Like I said, because I like to write, I want to write. I even want to write songs. I haven't accomplished that as yet.
You want to write songs?
I would love to write songs because I love writing.
Yes.
So.
And you've been consistent with it, eh?
With my writing, yes.
Yes.
So with the cards, like I said, I was challenged by a friend to do the cards. And so I said, I took the pictures. I have a lot of lovely pictures from different persons. So I connected the pictures with pieces of my writings, and I went to the computer, and it's like the book, the cards, it just fell into place.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, years ago I tried, I only had 1 card, 2 cards, and all of a sudden I had 69 designs.
Wow.
So they're flowing as the book flowed.
Yes.
Yeah,
Her love for writing opened doors for other possibilities.
Of course.
Because you didn't mention that you started a little book for kids.
Oh, yes. I have other projects on the work, because I have a children's book.
You're a busy woman. You're a busy woman, Jay Chanel Evans. You're busy. Which one is your favorite book out of the 3 books you've written? Which is your favorite?
I love the devotional. I love each of them, but
in a different way.
In a different way. In a different way. The darker side of love, I guess, because more persons are gravitating to it than they did the devotional, even though I think the devotional is just as great. But I love the response people are getting.
From the darker side of love. Yes. Now, is it possible to love more than one person at the same time? Or do you have one great love affair in your lifetime and that's it? You seem to be the love expert between you and Corinne here.
People say, but I believe that we love people differently because they're different characteristics.
Yes.
Yeah, you may have the great love. I'm not married, so I don't have that great love. But I have the view that people, you can love different people because of the different things they bring to your life.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Where can persons purchase your books and cards?
The cards are at the Bible Book and Gift Center in Palmdale, Shellcraft and Supplies on Robinson Road, and Logos Bookstore at Harbor Bay.
Okay.
The books are not in stores as yet. Some of the books were at Shellcraft and Supplies, and some will be there in another couple weeks so far.
Yes.
But outside of that, they can contact myself or Corinne.
Corinne, can you give them your contact information, please?
Yeah, sure. My cell phone number is 451-7926, and
my cell number is 376-4964.
Okay, all right, that's what they need. Yes. So what is the key theme and message in that love book? And you said it's faith-based, so what is the key theme and message? You probably took it from a scripture or something.
I think the greatest theme, the most important theme in the book is forgiveness.
Forgiveness, okay, yes.
Because that is what the character is faced with. She's faced with a really, really painful situation in her family.
Right.
And at the end of the day, her and her siblings, they're faced with having to forgive.
And forgiveness is not easy.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
especially when you've been hurt.
It's definitely not easy. Yeah, it's after you've been hurt.
Yes.
Can you come back from a broken affair, love affair? Can you bounce back after you've been hurt? Like Corinne looks like she wants to answer this one.
Oh.
Oh, go ahead, Janelle.
I think so, because healing comes from the Lord. Exactly. So we have to go to the Lord and allow him to bring healing into our lives, and forgiveness releases us from pain and hurt. And forgiveness helps us to recognize that we're all fallen people.
Okay.
Right? And you look beyond person's faults and you offer a second chance.
What about people who say, I forgive you, but I don't forget? I forgive, but I don't forget. I wouldn't forget what you did to me.
I smile because I have said that.
You said that, okay.
I have said, but like I said, I've come to a place to realize it still holds you hostage.
Yes. Because forgiveness is really for you, not the other person. It's for you.
It is.
Yeah.
It frees you.
It frees you.
Right. You don't forget because you want to make sure you don't make the same mistakes again. But that does not mean you haven't forgiven the person.
Okay.
Okay. I have to be smart about the situation. So
yes.
I forgive you.
Yes.
But I won't forget. It's still a learning experience.
You learn from the experience.
Yes, you should. If your book was made into a movie now, that one, who would be the leading character? Who would you like to play that part?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if your book was made into a movie, which is possible. All things are possible.
Yeah. She will be Jenny.
Really? Okay. Who would you like? Which famous actor, actress would you like to play the leading character role in your book?
I hadn't given that a thought.
It's very possible.
I don't know. I can't say at the moment. Yeah.
We'll come back to that.
Yes,
I'm sure that's something, So give me some insight into what make the characters tick in your novel.
Well, the characters, they have different characteristics. The main character, she is an emotional person, but she's strong. She feels a lot, but she's able to hold her emotions in check, primarily because of her faith. Because when she's hurting, she goes into her secret place and she asks the Lord for strength.
Yes.
She knows where to go to get her strength. And she has the strength that carries the rest of her family, because she has a sibling who his passion is it's expressed in rage, and as the book reveals, it comes from a place of hurt.
Yes.
He's been hurt.
She's been hurt, yes.
Yeah, and the other character is a place of blind faith. She blindly loves. She trusts all persons, and in the end, you kind of pity her because of the faith that she had, and you feel for her because you know that her faith was destroyed in the person that she had the faith in. But thankfully, she had her older sister, the strong one, who was there to be the support to her. She was the support to help the brother through his rage and to get to a place of, handling his emotions. So so each of them had their different characteristics. And they're the three main characters. There's a fourth. The fourth is a person who's been there giving support all through.
Okay.
We all need that person who's there to give us support.
Yes. Jay Chanel Evans, what were some of the key challenges you faced when you were writing your books?
Finances.
Okay.
Financing, because
your books are self-published?
They're all self-published.
Self-published, yes,
They're all self-published. So finances was a challenge, paying for the publication, finding a publisher that fit within my budget.
Of course.
Yes,
of course.
And as I'm realizing, because lack of education was a challenge. That's why I said it's important for authors to be educated about the publishing.
You have to learn the business. You have to learn the business.
Yeah, and I'm still learning a whole lot.
Yes.
But lack of education caused me to spend more than I needed to, and then it set things back longer because the book took about 3 years trying to get into publication.
Wow, yeah.
Because I didn't realize about having the professional editing.
Yes.
You need to have the professional editing. It's important to have copy editing done. Copy editing was something I was not able to afford for this book. I'm hoping that in all my other books I can do the professional editing and the copy editing to do all of those things before I even approach publisher.
I have a lady in Andros, and forgive me, I'm going to reach out to you sometime today. She's called me in reference to books.
Okay.
But she said that she wrote a book freehand.
Okay.
Her book is handwritten. What is her next step? And she's from the north also.
Okay.
Yeah, she's from the north. So what is her next step? It's handwritten.
Well, she needs, first of all, to get it typewritten. Okay. It has to be typed in order for you to even present it to the editors for editing and copy editing. It needs to be typed. So she needs to find someone who can...
A service,
typing service who can type it, have it typed for her so that she can get it into that format. So before she can do anything else, that's the first step she needs to do.
Yeah. I must say good morning to my brother down there, Reverend Eiffel Russell in Low Sound. Yeah, good man. Yeah, so so that's the first step for her.
Yes.
Is to do that. Any other advice? Because there's lots of people who are writing these days.
Well,
lots of people, and they may not know the pitfalls.
Actually, I want to offer to authors a service of helping them. You know, they can call me.
Awesome.
As a consultation, of
course. Of course.
And I can tell them, you know, the steps that they need to go through, or how to get their work prepared.
Good stuff.
And even connect them with 1 or 2 publishers whom I can help them to get their first book published.
Yes.
Because once the first one is out there, then that's the stepping stone.
Yes.
And you can move from there. So
let's go back to this point again. I think it's worth repeating, Corinne, that once your book is published, it doesn't mean that it's all over.
No.
The work then just begins.
It just begins.
We need to explain that and to hammer that out to the budding authors and writers and so forth, because a lot of them become discouraged after they've written a book.
Right, that's true.
They become depressed. Well, I went through all this. I wrote this book, and no one is even buying the book. Not even my family is buying the book. Like Tyler Perry said in one of his earlier days, he said that when he started with Medea, only a few people would show up to see his play. One time he had the highest attendance for his play Medea. It was 13 persons.
Oh, wow.
And all of them were family members. Oh, wow. So that's discouraging.
It is.
So, but we need to let the persons know that just because you wrote your book, it doesn't mean people will come break your door down to get your book and it's going to fly off the shelves.
Just don't get discouraged.
Don't get discouraged.
Don't get discouraged. Because actually, in saying that, I wanted to say that I've learned that also, once you've written once you've put the final dot on the book, then, or even while you're still writing, begin to set up what you call a launch team.
Yes, to help you with your launch.
Yeah, persons who you can trust.
Right.
Who will read the book and give you feedback.
Good feedback.
Good feedback on it, and let you know, okay, whether this sounds good or they can critique it for you.
Yes.
So you have that developmental stage of it, and then you line those up. You begin creating your Facebook and your author page even before that, because if you intend to have it published, you're going to have it published. So you put those things in place and begin marketing the book even from then.
Right.
I saw an excerpt from another author who was saying, even put excerpts from the book on your page as teasers to get people interested and say, well, if this book is coming, look for it.
Very important.
So you begin working.
Yes. And Corinne, sorry, Chanel. Corinne wanted to say something.
Oh, no, I was just saying her teaser is basically on the front page right here. If you look on it.
Yes.
This is it.
That's
the darker
right.
side of love. Plenty of persons are saying, I'd like
the
to.
Other side.
Right.
The other side. Yeah. And what I don't know if you ever noticed when you see pastors, bishops, speakers speaking, at events, they always refer to their book.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes,
yeah, and they just drop it in.
Yes.
So you need to do that.
Yes, you do.
People are shy. Well, I wrote a book, but I don't want to be telling people. You have to.
Yes. Well, that's what she always encouraged me to do, because...
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Tell people about it. Talk about it.
Because while we were waiting for the interview, she told me, you didn't bring the second book. And it just slipped my mind.
You have to travel with them.
Yes.
You have to travel with them. Jay Chanel.
I brought the most recent one.
Yeah, you have to travel with them, because someone will stop you at any point.
At any point.
Particularly after this interview now, they would have seen you and they would want some of your stuff.
Yes.
Any other advice you can give to budding writers and authors?
Well, as I said,
from your experience?
From my experience, to be educated on and look at other books. Read.
Yes, read. Read, Bahamas,
yes,
read.
We have to read, even as an author. Not because you're an author, you don't have to read anybody else's work.
Yeah,
you need to read other people's work, see what their style is like, look and see what style is appealing to people. Not because, and then I won't say because a style appeals to people that has to be your style, but you look and see how it will complement your style and how you can enhance your own style of writing by the other books.
That's true.
Yes.
Just write. You don't try to write like someone else.
Write you.
Be yourself.
Yes.
That's when you have the best.
Yes.
End results.
Right.
When you are yourself. Don't try to write like this person or that. Be yourself, and you'll get your book done. And then you will need to just press through. Don't get discouraged.
Right.
This is very important. Don't get discouraged. Right.
Yes. Don't get discouraged. That's an important point, Corinne. Also, J. Chanel Evans. There are a number of book clubs around now. I noticed a number of people are doing them. I know Grand Bahama's got a book club.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so that's an area you might want to tap into, where you go out and you read an excerpt from your book at the book club, and then to get the word out.
Well, I've actually been trying to look up and see where book clubs are located. So I've been trying to look into that area.
I know one in Grand Bahama and one or two here.
Okay.
But that's an area that you would want to look at. Yeah. So and going back to reading now, a number of persons don't read. Talk about that, please.
It's unfortunate when we don't read, because like I said, reading it opens our minds to so many things, and it helps us, because even if you have a health issue and you go and you look for material, you can read up and you can find information that can help you with your health experience. Not to be the self-doctor,
right, but it can help.
It can help you. So reading is so very, very important. It's very important.
All right. What books are currently by your bedside right now? What are the books by your bedside right now?
Actually, I'm reading a book by E.M. Barnes on prayer.
On prayer?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's good. You like those sort of stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's your area?
Yes, I like, and I have, in my car, I have an audio book by David Jeremiah, again, on prayer.
David Jeremiah, yes. Yeah, TBN guy, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, Pastor David Jeremiah. Which famous author you would wish to be your mentor if you had a choice? In choosing a famous author, who would you like to be your mentor?
Well, Dee Henderson, because she writes Christian mystery.
Okay.
Yes. I would not mind being mentored by her to, I wouldn't mind being mentored by her.
Have you ever given any thought to creating your books into audio books?
I have. I've looked at it. The feature was not available in the Bahamas.
Yes.
The platforms that I contacted.
Okay. You've been doing some investigation.
I've been investigating everything.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, so I'm still looking. I spoke with someone in the last week or so who's in that industry, and I asked them to get back to me to know how they might be able to help me with that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the audiobook.
Yeah, you're checking things out.
Yes.
Anything you would like to add, Corinne?
No, that's it for me. I want her to cover all the bases. She's good, right. Yes. She needs to be out there. She's the face of this.
Exactly.
So I'm leaving everything up to her.
Yes, yes. And you seem to be on your way. You seem to be on your way, J. Chanel Evans. I like books. I'm a book guy. I've always liked books growing up. And, when I travel, one of the places I must go is to a bookstore.
Great, that's wonderful.
Yeah, if I'm in the mall, it's Walden Books, B. Dalton Books, what have you. I do a lot of that, and it has helped me over the many years. So, what is the favorite book that you read as an adult that you remember?
I've read. I think it's the one that I'm reading now, the one on prayer.
Oh, the one on prayer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a book. I just finished reading a book by Michael Todd from TBN called Crazy Faith.
Okay.
Powerful book. Yeah, Crazy Faith. Michael Todd, he comes on TBN, is a different kind of pastor.
Okay, yeah.
But he's got that crazy faith.
Yes.
And faith is the oil that takes the friction out of living.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, when you have faith, it will allow you to turn your liabilities into assets, stumbling blocks into stepping stones. When you have faith, your load may get heavy, but your knees won't buckle. You may get knocked down, but you won't be knocked out.
I have a plaque in my office that says that the woman who kneels before God can stand before anyone.
Yes, that's for sure.
So prayer is my foundation.
That's for sure. Yeah. We have, Dapper Dawn, we have a minute left. 3 minutes left? Okay, I'm going to give you that. But coming up, I just want to make this announcement. Coming up immediately after me is the one and only David Wallace with Direct Talk. And today he's doing the story of a Ragged Island boy, Mr. Mark Wilson, former principal, former director of education, and former permanent secretary in the Ministry of National Security, and a great member of St. Barnabas Anglican Church. So he's coming up with David Wallace immediately following my program. Sean Dapper Dawn tells me that I have 2 minutes left. I'm going to give you the 2 minutes. Yes. Oh, thank you very kindly. Oh, this is for me?
Yes, sir.
Wow, thank you so much. J. Chanel Evans on a book on love. They say love is the strongest force on this earth.
It is.
King Edward gave up the throne for love.
It is.
Yeah.
But it has to be coupled with forgiveness.
Forgiveness, yes. And that's a big part.
It is.
Give me some closing words, please, Ms. Evans. North Andros in the house. I have to send a shout out to Commissioner of Police Paul Roll, who is from North Andros.
And my cousin.
He's your cousin?
Yes.
He always reminds me that he's a North Andros Roll. We have that joke together, You know there are rolls in South Andros.
Yes.
But he makes the distinction.
He's a North Andros.
Yeah, and also Trevor Roberts.
Also my cousin.
Oh my, Trevor's a good friend of mine.
Yes.
And so the big QC is your family?
It's my brother.
That's your brother?
Yes.
So Harris is your brother?
Yes.
Harris is an author too?
Yes,
This is in the family.
Like I said, our parents instilled the love of books into all of us. They read
Tommy Evans and all that. This is a great heritage.
I'd like to say I'm also doing a biography on Tommy. I'm doing his biography. I'm working on that, trying to get that
good
completed.
Stuff. Yeah, good stuff, man. He's a dynamic individual.
Yes.
Yeah, very, very sharp.
Yeah.
There's something about the Evans and the Newtons and all those North Andros names. There's something special.
Well,
what is it? Was it in the water down there in North Andros?
I don't know if it's in the water. I think
but you've always been studious.
It's in our heritage.
In the heritage, eh?
Yeah, what was instilled in us from our forefathers. Like my father was a teacher in his early years, and they instilled education in us. When I went to school, the other kids were learning how to read and write.
You already knew.
I went to school reading and writing.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes.
And your parents should, we should honor them too, eh?
Yes,
I mean, for the pace that they've set.
I do. Well, they're both deceased.
Yes.
Yes, but they set the pace for us.
Awesome.
And we're still aiming to reach that.
That's good.
Yes.
Well, that's a fitting note for us to end this program right now. I want to thank you so much for being here today on this program. J. Chanel Evans, along, of course, with
Corrine.
Corrine, yeah, I know Corrine. Corrine Evans. And Corrine, I detect a bit of May Penn in you, so I'm gonna leave that right there. I wanna thank the wonderful team of putting this program together today. Producer Portia Fernanda, thank you. Hope Shelley Ann, Sean the Dapper Dawn, Cindy Smith, Kanoshi Sims, Charlene Johnson and the Master Control Group, Jonathan Benson, Steve Williams, and Tanaj Fraser. Thank you so much. God bless you as you live your best life now. Tune in again tomorrow when we will have Alison Maynard Gibson on the program tomorrow morning. Of course, she is over at UB, and we will be talking some good stuff. UB has got a new president now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So tune in again tomorrow for another exciting program on Immediate Response.
Okay. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Did you know that 1/3 of all traffic fatalities occur as a result of excessive speed? Excessive speed impedes a driver's point of perception, which affects braking distance. In the inner city, residential areas, and high pedestrian traffic areas, the speed